Hi, today I'm going to talk about React Native. I'm Nicole. I'm a software engineer at Magnetis and a React Native, Ruby, and Clojure enthusiast. Yeah, it's Ronaldinho. I'll explain what React Native is, how it works, and why or why not you should be using. I will also be showing you the pros, cons, and point out when it might be a good choice to use React Native instead of Java Swift development, and when it's not might be a good idea. This talks based on how our engineering team could create our mobile app from scratch without having any experience or much prior knowledge on mobile development. So let's begin with the classics. What is React Native? By simple introduction, it's a framework for building mobile apps. It's open source and it was created by Facebook. So basically, you create your mobile app using JavaScript, ES6, and something that's similar to React for Web, like using Redux, managing state, and components. Whoa, it's really new. I never heard about it. Using JavaScript for making mobile apps. Are you sure it's not Ionic but by Facebook? Not exactly. React Native has quite a few differences from Ionic that set it apart. But you just need to know the biggest one for now. It's native. It's not just a web view. You really have native components on your application. So, JavaScript transformer into native code? Not exactly in transformer into. You write your JavaScript and it communicates with the native components. How this works? This behavior is achieved by using the bridge. But I'm not going to cover this in detail. It's a little beyond the scope of my topic, so I'll just summarize a little. So, you have a JavaScript code. JavaScript will make a call, calling the bridge. Hey bridge, I want to hand a calendar over here for the iPhone. And then, because of the bridge communication, the communication gets to native components, and the native component is rendered. In this case, render the native calendar component for iOS. So now let's see the pros and cons of React Native. The first one is write-ons run everywhere. As I said before, you write your JavaScript code and it translates to native components for both iOS and Android. So you just have to write your logic once and it's ready. But that's not all the time. So, not always. Why? Yeah, not always. Sometimes you require to write specific platform logics. For example, like in this case, where the structure is different on Android and iOS, where Android doesn't have the URL prop. In some cases, this is more annoying. This one kind of annoyed me a lot of time while I was building my app. So sometimes rendering is kind of different from Android to iOS. So you have to do some conditions to make the perfect rendering in each one. Actually, to solve this problem by starting to code for Android first. In big cases, you can separate your logic in specific files, and React Native will handle this for you, calling the ios.js file when it's on iOS, and Android.js when it's Android. This is big help as it makes your files with just specific logics, without use condition operations and with much less code. Or in case that you might need a big different file for each one. Another one is, you might be able to share some logic of your web application, even more if you use React. Let me give you an example. In this example, I show you our mobile app custom label component, which is responsible for handling some things on our charts. And this is our app custom label. Okay, our mobile app has some additions, but if we look closer, our web app has a text tag that is wrapped to T-span tags, while our mobile app has some test tags too. Wrapping T-spans too, and both exhibit some presentation and text. Okay, the next one is performance. It's really close to a native app performance, as React Native doesn't use web views. It's just a little behind from native code, and actually it can perform better sometimes. You don't believe me? I have some examples. Swift against React Native. This will measure the memory, CPU, and GPU performance on an app which has 4 pages. A profile, a to-do list, a simple page view, and one with Google Maps renderer. This was made on a Medium article, so it's not owned by me. Let's see the first one. Well, I told you, there are kind of tired of most examples. In some, React Native actually use less, and in others, Swift wins. But as you can see, it's not a huge margin. On GPU usage, it's kind of tight too. The difference is not really that big again. Swift win in some, and React in others. As you can see, they are really tight. Sometimes Swift winning, but wow. On display the maps, React Native actually blows it out of the water. Like I said, it's a native experience. But it's good to mention that it's just in a simple app example. So in real life projects, it might be a little different. But I can guarantee you that's not going to be really that big. And another pro is JavaScript. Yeah, JavaScript is one of the biggest, most famous languages in the market. As your company, this makes it simple to find good developers. And as a developer, you already have to know JavaScript. So from there, it's not too much complicated to dive into React Native. As an example, again, me and my colleagues at Magnets, we built our mobile app from scratch without knowing any native development experience like Swift nor Java. We just knew JavaScript. The next one is route reloading. With this feature, you can debug instantly your code, but this is better explained with an example. So it's basic, you write your code, and changes are reflected in seconds. There's no need to recompile your app. The next one is easy to learn. React Native is really simple to learn. If you already know React, your time will be even more easier. Using JSX, it will basically look like web development in general. React Native documentation is also very well explained and detailed, so you have a place to know better. If you look closer, it's not that different from HTML, and not really different from React for web. You have tags, in this case view, text, and some inline style. Okay, time to talk about the bad parts of React Native. First one, React Native Debugger. It's kind of like sometimes. Actually, if you spend too much time, it will be even more laggy. It consumes a lot of your memory, and combined with the emulator is already something that consumes a lot of memory, can be a big problem. If you're doing pair programming, then yeah, you are in hell. I have seen good machines being slow while using this. When you use web development, where you just need your text editor and a browser, things can be hard to get used to. In React Native is really simple to make UI and some animations. Paired with Storybook is a machine. Storybook is a lib to help with this. But when it comes to complicated UI animations, be prepared. It will take a long time and quite a bit of effort to do. One example was when our engineering team had to make a swiper animation on our questionnaire section in the app. We tried at first to use a library that does exactly what we needed, but because of how our questionnaire was made, that wasn't possible. In the end, we had to make our own animation, and that took a couple days to code. Well, not that long. Animation with CSX, I missed that. But long live the community. Good thing React Native has a lot of libraries. As I told, the swiper animation already have one. You might find out that your animation is already ready if you search correctly. Actually, the situation where you need to make something very complicated and unique would not be that common. Actually, this depends on your app. I actually had to use swiper animation on another feature, so I decided to start with the animation first, and these are on the lib. I could ship it in a shorter time than my colleague on the previous example. Unfortunately, I can't show you as it's not published yet on our app, and my CTO is watching, so I'd get fired, I guess. The next one is really famous. It was the big motivation that Airbnb decided to drop React Native from the stack. Android and React Native itself is problematic, and the big problem is because of this guy here. The JS card that comes with React Native is a little too old, and that might cause some problems that are unexpected. And the biggest problem with this is that the errors will be silent. But it's open source, alright? So you can skip with this problem with a library that updates your JS core. But this should be something that Facebook could do on the React Native repository. Yeah, you can build your app with just JavaScript, but sometimes there might be a moment that you should write native code on some very specific and complicated components. But I'd say that might not be too common if it's not a very complicated app, but not that hard to solve. It will just require more time for a developer to know what to do than someone with native experience. It's just an addition. We have problems like this on our company, and we could solve it without big problems. As I said, it just took some time. Well, yeah, heavy JavaScript might be some problems too. It will be common that sometimes you get bugs and errors with generic messages like, yeah. But we are used to it. Angular has the famous Angular min.js error too. We're fine. Joking not, we're not fine. This is kinda sucks. Okay. React Native itself is kinda easy to get along. You might really have an easy time, but not the same for all tools you're gonna need. As example, Redux. Redux is a state manager. It's actually the part where I took more time to learn. It's not that hard, but it's still not easy to learn as React Native. You can try Flux, but this one never really used it, so I can't tell you how hard this will be. React Navigation. This is a tool, yeah, not React Native itself, but it's one of the most used router for React Native, and it might turn into the official router. The problem with React Native is you might get into simple issues while doing some complex things. And they have a lot of issues open on the repository along with a lot of pull requests solving it. So I don't really understand why they don't just fix. But the good things is This can be easily avoided by using React Router Flux. But it might be a problem if you're already using React Navigation. That is our current status. Another problem is Facebook itself. It might not be that big, but yeah, Facebook owns React Native. And from my experience, they are kinda slow to maintain the repository. So being dependent on this sucks. Have some bug or new feature that would be simple with some changes on React Native that already has a pull request open with a lot of votes. Sadly, your waiting time will be long. Remember the JS core problem with Android? Appear if the solution is already open for a long time ago. Well, but it's open source, right? You can still make a fork of React Native and solve the problem yourself. But still not the solution. So, why use React Native then? Let's see some points. 1. Even with some cons, most of them can be solved. Actually might happen only in very specific cases and on really complicated apps. But good. It's cheaper to make your company mobile app with React Native, as you won't need to hire new specific mobile devs for this. As long as you have a few web devs with JavaScript knowledge, which is not hard on these days. It's native, again. Between all the JavaScript-based mobile development, like Ionic, Cordova, etc., React Native is way ahead. You will still have a native application different from this. So why choose the others? Do you know React for Web? Your jump to React Native will be much simpler. It has only a few changes during the coding part. Some div might turn into views, some paragraph tags into text. You want to specialize in React Native? There are a lot of big companies using it. Also, it is kinda the new hipster tech, so the demand for this tech is pretty high. Okay, let's say you are interested in React Native now, but should you use it in every app opportunity you have? I don't think so. So here I give my opinion on what may be the best option for your app and if React Native is really the best for you. Like I said, complication animators can be a pain. If you want to build an app that won't have too much complicated animation, I would say a positive point to go with React Native. If not, you'll probably lose some time building this. It's not impossible, but yeah, you have some time to do this. You want a native experience? In my opinion, this one should be the main reason to use React Native. Like other frameworks that use JavaScript to build for mobile app, React Native will give you the same fast developing process. But even better, it will deliver a native application. So, almost a perfect performance and without sacrificing too much the time to create it. You want to ship it faster? The best option, in my opinion, is still React Native. You won't have too much difference in the time of development process, like I said before. So, you are even get the native experience. Again, why not use in this case? Are you coding for only one OS? Well, if you want to build just for one OS, I would analyze the case a little more closely. Do you need to ship it quickly? Do you have a small team? You don't have a mobile team yet. I would still suggest React Native again in this case. Also, if someday in the future you want to change and release for another platform, it will be kinda easy. I think to notice that our mobile app in Magnets start only with iOS version. And we decided to launch the Android some few weeks later, and it just took some days to make the changes. Okay, let's say you already have one app delivery, and now you want to deliver another one. I'll ask the same questions from the previous point. Discord, for example, use React Native just for the iOS app. and it looks like they're keeping this way. The Android app is on native itself. You already have a mobile app and want to change the technology. Let's say that you want to make your developing process faster. Well, if you want to gain time in development, this might be a good idea. Instagram did this and it seems they are very happy. Also, you can start this slowly. No need to make hard changes at once. As you launch a new feature, you can make it on React Native and still use your native app. Instagram starts with only the push notifications. And by now, I think they have a pretty others with React Native and is still using the native code. I can't think of when you might not want to choose React Native. In my opinion, there is not a you shouldn't use on this idea. But I can see some as, well, we have the money for pure native. Maybe we should go this way. So, if you have a big company and can afford high talent native mobile engineers, and your app is going to do something with a lot of animations, then yeah, I think in this case going for native is better. Otherwise, I would stick with React Native. Game development might not be a good point. I think games in React Native is not a thing, right? Well, there are libs that can let you make games in React Native too. This one looks simple. Maybe some more complicated game. Whoa! Donkey Kong. Okay, this gets hard actually. Make it be a really big complicated game with a lot of mechanics and system. I don't know, a new Dark Souls for mobile. Well, I'm not sure about game development itself on React Native, but as you saw, you can still use it for that. But I think other game engines might be a better option for big complicated mobile games. Even more if you're a company and trying to make your game, because you might not find us for React Native game development. So if you want to make a very complicated game, React Native might not be a good choice. Okay, let's say you want to use, so where do I learn? I think the best option to learn is React Native documentation. It's really well documented, and in my opinion, you can get along pretty easy. Coursera, if you want to go free but want a university level education, and you also have the option for a certificate. If you pay, I would go to Udacity. The non-degree programs are really good. Okay, bonus time. Planning to use already on your company or to make your project. Here's some tips for what to use alongside React Native for. Continuous integration. Bitrise might be your choice. We had a hard time to find a tool that fits our choice for tests, ESLint, and end-to-end. Talking about end-to-end tools, this was our choice after a long search. Our dev even made a post on Medium explaining how to use it. The last one, we are hiring at Magnets. So if you want to know some remote and friendly environment, please come join us. And thank you. If you have any questions, please send you on my Twitter and I'll be glad to answer in there. Any questions? So.
Oh, okay. So my question is, perhaps I will have. Actually, I'm building a mobile app, and I will have to use Bluetooth Low Energy.
You have to use what? Sorry.
Bluetooth Low Energy.
Okay.
Bluetooth. And my concern and my question is, I have looked very quickly on the internet and saw some Bluetooth Low Energy libraries which were reportedly not to work very well. And someone said that, oh, you're probably going better to write your own plugin. And I would ask if you have already written a native plugin for React Native, and whether that is easy or difficult.
Okay. I never wrote myself a component, but this actually is a good solution because when you have something very specific and a good library is not released yet, or in this case is not very good, it's not too much complicated. Actually, I think you can use it. You can even use the native documentation because you can use the native code with the JavaScript.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.